Quick yes or no answer. Is Elon Musk right to call Keir Starmer two-tier Keir?
Look, I'm not going to get into nicknames about the Prime Minister.
But is he generally right?
No, I don't trade in nicknames about the PM or anybody else.
Right, but is that an accurate description of
I don't think that's
the policy?
I don't think that's a sensible thing for me to engage in. What I do think is that the Prime Minister is running scared on this debate and is not calling out in equal measure violence and disorder by those on the far right and those in sectarian.
When the most far-sighted entrepreneur in the world, Elon Musk, decides to reserve the launch of missiles and throws himself into the maelstrom of British politics, it cannot but cause a storm of emotions in the hearts of citizens. The founder of Tesla and SpaceX invaded the UK political arena, causing a real flurry of outrage that forced Labour leader Keir Starmer and his party to look for excuses for their actions. What prompted Musk to take this risky step? And why are millions of people rallying to his defence, protesting against the Labour government? Today we will find out the answers to these questions together.
They want Elon Musk gone, X turned off, and freedom of speech stamped out. Starmer himself has said he's going to look at social media laws in the wake of the riots and even revisit the Online Safety Act. And right on cue, of course, the Westminster elite are now circling. Guardian columnists got their knickers in a twist, saying Musk should be on trial in the UK for inciting the riots. And Keir Starmer's champagne socialist biographer, Tom Baldwin, called for regulation of social media platforms, even saying free speech was not absolute. Make no mistake, the minority racist idiots who caused the worst of these riots have opened the floodgates for a power grab of our civil liberties under this Labour government. And it's a crying shame that it's a US-based South African who's the only one with the balls to stick up for British.
The name of Elon Musk has long been a symbol of revolutionary changes and bold ideas. He started by building amazing Tesla electric vehicles and didn't stop there, challenging humanity with ambitious plans to colonize Mars through SpaceX. Musk is not just pushing the boundaries of what is possible, he is creating a future that we did not even dare to dream of. However, his recent turn to politics is causing a storm of emotions and calls into question his previous priorities. For many years, it seemed that Musk was not interested in government affairs, preferring to focus on technological progress. But now his moves towards UK politics are opening the veil over his deep dissatisfaction with the existing system. He strives to give people a voice so that they can demand change and better governance.
Now, Elon Musk has caused an earthquake by suggesting that at the next UK general election in 2029, the established parties, left and right, Labour and the Tories, will be, in his words, crushed at that next election. Now, what's he pointing to? Well, Elon Musk is pointing to the complete collapse of public support for Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who of course has only been in the job since July. But if you look at the polls, Keir Starmer's net ratings have collapsed to -38. So he is in what we call net negative territory, or what I like to call Prince Andrew territory.
As the owner of Company X, Musk found himself in the very epicenter of the global political debate. His bold decision to oppose the Labour government vividly highlights his growing concern about authoritarian tendencies, especially regarding freedom of speech and poor economic management. Musk's participation caused a real storm of emotions. His tweet did not just gather thousands of signatures, it became a powerful catalyst for discussing the most serious problems facing our country. The citizens began to openly share their personal stories about financial difficulties, how dissatisfied they were with the work of public services, and their deep disappointment in the Labour government. Hashtags such as General Election and People Deserve Better have instantly gained popularity around the world, demonstrating the colossal scale of this movement.
But anyway, it's not just about Starmer. If you take a step back and look at everybody in Britain's political class, including Kemi Badenoch, the new leader of the Conservative Party, she's also in net negative territory. Her first opinion poll rating is -5, meaning more people disapprove of Kemi Badenoch than approve. So there's no doubt that everybody in Britain's political class is remarkably unpopular, and that creates a lot of space for those new insurgents and disruptors like Nigel Farage and Reform, for example. But actually, I think there's a lot more going on here than Elon Musk is suggesting. Let me just give you a couple of points to support this idea that the established parties, the liberal consensus in this country, is about to be crushed at the next general.
Passionate debates about Labour's rule are raging in public forums, local gatherings, and even in workplace discussions. Elon Musk, perhaps by accident, or perhaps intentionally, became the spark igniting a nationwide confrontation. Despite the rapid growth of this movement, the reaction of the Labour Party turned out to be almost zero. Keir Starmer and his key ministers shy away from direct comments about the petition or Musk's statements, as if hiding from the truth. Their strategy seems to be to simply ignore the brewing storm, hoping it will pass by. But such tactics only add fuel to the fire of public discontent. Musk himself did not stand aside and directly pointed out the government's unwillingness to participate in this important process, writing on Twitter, "Democracy dies in silence. Leaders should come out to the people, not hide behind closed doors." Political analysts note with alarm the inaction of the Labour Party, arguing that it only confirms the growing gap between the party and society.
A big thank you to you from a very, very start for watching us, for listening to us, whether it's live or on catch-up. And we're being noticed. Our influence is being noticed. I had Alison Pearson on the show last night talking about Plod, knocking on her door last Sunday morning for something she said on X a year ago. And Elon Musk picked this all up and he posted last night and saying that, what we'd done is the show had beaten Sky and the BBC ratings combined. And he's making the point, Elon, that basically people have had enough of old-style mainstream media. So a big thank you to Elon Musk as well.
This perception further undermines the credibility of Starmer's leadership, and many have already openly called his silence an admission of failure. One of Musk's most striking and harsh criticisms of Labour is the issue of freedom of speech, which, in his opinion, is becoming less and less. In recent months, we have increasingly heard disturbing stories of people being harassed for their social media posts condemning government policies. Musk takes a firm stand against what he calls censorship hiding under the guise of regulation. In one particularly emotional tweet, he stated when a government suppresses dissent, it stops fulfilling its responsibilities to the people. Britain must do better. This opinion resonates in the hearts of those who feel that their voices are being silenced and ignored. Musk's criticism is not limited to individual cases. He raises the most important systemic problems, pointing out that laws and regulations are increasingly being used as tools to control public opinion.
Election, one thing I would point to, which Elon Musk doesn't, is what we call volatility in UK politics. We've never had as many people switching their vote from one party to another party as we've had over the last 10 years. In fact, 60% of Brits have changed their vote. Some have gone Labour to Conservative, Conservative to Reform, Lib Dem to Labour, Labour to Green. And all of this is why you can go from a massive Conservative majority of 80 seats with Boris Johnson in 2019 to a massive Labour majority with Keir Starmer only 5 years later in 2024. And that's why I think you could just as easily go from a massive Labour majority in 2024 to a complete realignment in politics, a massive political earthquake again in 2029. Because without those tribal allegiances, my dad voted Labour and his dad voted Labour, without all of that kind of stuff, politics is so much more volatile, so much more fluid.
The movement that Musk has activated covers not only the most important issues of freedom of speech, but also the urgent need for economic justice. At the moment, Britain is plunged into a cost of living crisis, rising inflation and strikes in the public sector. People are desperate, because many are convinced that the Labour government has failed to offer any real solutions. As a result, the main burden of these terrible problems has fallen on the shoulders of ordinary citizens, and this causes anger and discontent. Musk's tweets don't just raise these issues, they bring them to the fore, often directly quoting the opinions of people who are tired of the inaction of the authorities. One viral post read, "How can we trust a government that is not even able to provide affordable housing or decent wages?" These words reflect the anger and frustration that is building up in society. Musk's amplification of such sentiments has made him the voice of those who feel abandoned and ignored, which in turn has further spurred calls for a general election.
What about our Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, that he must resign because he's sending England back to the Tudor times, and you've accused him of heading up a totally fascist government? Keir Starmer a fascist, is that quite right, Mr. Musk?
Well, what is fascism? Fascism is a high school. So you go to a typical high school, and that's a fascistic setup. All authority is in the hands of the principal, and the second level of authority are the teachers. The pupils, they just sit up straight. If they open their mouths, in my country, they got caned. And that essentially, they have no say. That is essentially what a fascistic setup is about. Doesn't mean it's bad or anything. And it obviously works well in high schools. The trouble is that in the world at large, the kind of rules that Mr. Starmer has been putting down and laying down and putting people in prison for
Mr. Musk,
posting
we need
things.
to leave it
It's
there,
not right.
I'm afraid.
Musk's actions have caused a powerful resonance far beyond the UK. His bold criticism of the Labour government has ignited heated discussions in countries that face similar difficulties, from the United States to Australia. Media around the world enthusiastically cover this fascinating story, presenting Musk as a destroyer ready to challenge established orders and expose the shortcomings of power. The attention of the international community has become a real test for the Labour government, forcing it to face not only growing domestic discontent, but also harsh international criticism and control. People are demanding changes, and the pressure on the government is increasing every day. What do you think about this video? Share your thoughts in the comments. See you later.